So Leute, was geht? Niklas hier von PPF Gerald zusammen mit Paul, unserem Head Coach, und heute einem Gast aus den Niederlanden. Der wird sich gleich noch mal selber vorstellen. Wundert euch nicht, wir werden jetzt in Englisch sprechen. Ich hoffe, dass es für euch alle funktioniert und dass ihr das alle versteht. Wenn ihr Fragen habt zu dem Ganzen, meldet euch sehr gerne. And now I would say, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? And why are we doing this podcast?
Right. Hallo Leute, wie geht's? Okay, das ist mein Deutsch. I do speak a little bit of German, but not good enough that I'm comfortable doing a podcast in it. I can read a little bit of German. I speak a little bit of German, but just stuff to get around whenever I'm in Germany, and I always enjoy coming to Germany. But my name is Noël, head coach at Breda Strength Conditioning and also the owner of Defensie Trainingsschema, which is a military prep program. I used to be in the Royal Netherlands Marine Corps. I used to be a medic. I deployed with the 23rd Airborne Marines to Afghanistan in 2009 and 2010. And after that, I became a corporal in the Royal Netherlands Marine Corps, became an instructor. And now I have a program called Defensie Trainingsschema, or DTS, just to make it easy. And I coach civilians or military professionals that want to go into special operations or into elite units within the Netherlands, within special police units, or I'm also helping other people to the Belgian paracommandos. I have a gym here in the Netherlands in Breda, about 250 members, about 1,000 square meters worth of gym, and I coach a lot of different athletes. Professional athletes, competitive athletes, but also my mom trains here. My mom's 74. Our youngest member is 15. So it's a wide variety of people that I coach. And PPF got in touch with me about doing a podcast, and I was super excited to do that. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. Where is Breda located?
So it's in the south. It's in the south of the Netherlands. So it's about an hour away from Antwerp, Belgium, so it's pretty close to the southern border. We like to say it's the nicest city in Noord-Brabant.
Okay.
Our province, yeah.
Cool. Quick question before we start into the topics. How many guys did you prepare for military selection in your whole career?
Well, the total that I prepared, I have no idea, but I can tell you that this Friday the 13th, will be my 43rd client that has earned his beret. I have a client that's going to earn his red beret, his maroon beret, which is the mobile, which is I think Fallschirmjäger or EGB.
Yeah,
you can compare it with that.
Okay. We talked about in our discussion before this podcast about the system with the earn the beret. It's a little bit different here in Germany. Can you explain what does it mean to earn this beret in your country?
Sure. So you have in all countries, you have regular military units, and then you have military units that require. It's a little bit more difficult to join those units. It's a little bit a longer process. The physical standards are higher, the mental and the cognitive standards are higher. So I would say, and I'm not trying to sound elitist, but there are units that are more difficult to get into because it's tougher screening. Yeah. And those units in the Netherlands are the Air Mobile Brigade, the Dutch Green Berets, or the Dutch Army Special Forces, which is both Army. Then you have the Marine Corps, the Royal Netherlands Marine Corps. Within the Royal Netherlands Marine Corps, you have a special operations unit called MARSOF, which is the Maritime Special Operations Forces. And then you could also say that the BSB, which is the unit in the military police, that is a more elite unit as well. That's within the military. And then within the police, you have a national counterterrorist unit that's called DSI. And that is, I think you could compare that to GSG 9.
Yeah.
So that's the units that we have. So when you join one of those units here in the Netherlands, you can either, some units, kind of depends obviously, right? So some units you can try and join as a civilian. And then some units you need to be already a well-established military personnel, and then you go into a different selection. So for martial off, you need to be a Marine first before you can join. Then you have to do the aptitude, you have to do the 40-week pipeline. And for BSB, you might also need to be a military, a soldier or in the military first. But, you could, for Air Mobile Brigade and for the Dutch Green Berets, there is a pipeline that you can join. So you can, it takes a long time, obviously, but you can join as a civilian.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and when you say they earn the beret, so did they pass the selection or did they finish all the courses?
So for the Dutch Green Berets, you get your beret, you earn your beret after the initial military training. If you're a civilian, then you have to do like a pre-commando course, then you do the elementary commando course, and then after that you get the Green Beret, you earn the Green Beret. But you are only allowed to wear the Green Beret temporarily until you actually finish like the advanced commando course, do your individual specialization, a whole bunch of other courses, and then when you join the actual operational unit, you are allowed to then wear and keep the beret. For the Marine Corps, it is the 40. You go through selection or like the regular stuff that you need to do. Then you do the 40-week pipeline, and then when you graduate, you get to earn the beret, and you can wear the beret. Same goes with the Air Mobile Brigade.
Okay, got it. One last question before you get into our topics. When I was in the Navy, we had a partner unit, also from the Netherlands, the Corps Marinier.
Yeah, that's where I was. That was the unit that I was with. But the Corps Mariniers is the Royal Netherlands Marine Corps. You can always tell who's a Marine because they're very good looking, and they got a good sense of humor, and they're very modest too. Just joking.
Yeah. Nice. That was our partner unit. I guess when I leave the Navy, we had more exercises with you. When we used your little arm boats to get on the beach, those ones in Norwegia, and this one little island. How does it? Texel, I guess.
Texel, yeah,
and stuff like this.
Yeah. That's so the Marine Corps is part of the Navy. Obviously, we're the infantry of the Navy in the Netherlands. I know in America, you have you have Army, Navy, Air Force, and then Marine Corps. We are in the Netherlands. We have a small military, and within the Navy, you have like the elite troops of the Navy, which is the Royal Netherlands Marines. And within the Marines, you have then the special forces. But Texel, where you went to, that's where the Navy has a base. They do amphibious assaults, and you practice that, and you do that in the Marine Corps pipeline, or the Marine Corps training that you do to become a Marine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, first of our topics was the components of a good preparation for selection courses. From your point of view, we already talked about you trained a lot of people, so you are expert in this field. What do you see? What are for you these good components to pass selection?
Okay, so thank you for that question. That's a great question. So you obviously, it depends on who the person is, and it depends on what unit that you're going to join, right?
Yeah, sure.
If you got to remember, and I'm speaking to a lot of different people, and a lot of people are listening. You have to think about, where are you in life? So some people are 17-year-old and have never been away from home longer than a week. And other people are like 23, 24-year-old, and they have their own place, and have been living on their own, and they already did like a study and everything, they already graduated. So where are you in life? I think it's important what good preparation means for your selection is know your why. Why am I going to join this unit? Why is this important for me? Why am I going to sacrifice 2 years of my time, my energy, my money, my life of joining this unit. It has to be a very strong reason why you want to join that unit. And I think that why should solidify the reason for joining, because there's a million reasons to not join, and you're going to think about all those reasons while you're cold, tired, hungry, miserable, lost, it's raining, your corporal, your sergeant is telling you you're the worst candidate they ever saw. So you need to understand, okay, I got a million reasons to not do this. I have to remember my one reason to keep going. But that's the first thing. Say no and understand your why, and really think about that. Not just go like, oh, I like the color of the beret. This has a base which is close to me. I'm just going to go there. You need to know your why. That's first. Second, I would say you got to have faith in yourself. That's absolutely monumental. Do you think that Usain Bolt, comes to the Olympics, is going to run the 100 meters and goes like, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure I can win, but we'll see how I do. No, he goes there absolutely determined, convinced, this is my race, I'm going to win this. So that's what I would say is important. If you don't have faith in yourself, nobody else will. And you might be like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it. No, get that doubt in your mind, because that doubt will grow. And they're going to be they're going to be testing you anyway. So you're going to have to put faith in yourself first. Another thing that I say for preparation is you need to be physically and mentally prepared. You have to, you can't just show up and go like, no, you have to understand it's going to take time. Physically, I got to know what the tests are. I got to know where am I, how do I score with those tests? And also mentally, am I ready to invest in myself? Where am I not good at? If you are not mentally prepared to be cold and wet and deal with obstacles, it's not going to go smoothly, right? You guys know there's always something going on. So you have to be prepared, like, okay, it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy, because if it was easy, everybody would have a green beret, a red beret. Everybody would be special operations, but that's not possible. Not everybody can win an Olympic gold medal, and not everybody can win, a beret. Then the last thing I would say is you got to work on your weakest link. So if you're a good runner, but you can't squat or you can't rope, you need to work on that, because there's going to be rope climbing involved. If your mobility sucks, you got to work on that. Obviously, you don't have to join Cirque du Soleil. You don't have to be an acrobat, but you need to be able to move, stuff overhead, and you need to be able to swim, and you need to be able to climb and jump, or if it's like high intensity, there's a lot of stress. You need to be smart with your breath work, so you need to work on that too. All of those things. Know your, have faith in yourself, be physically and mentally prepared, and your weakest link, I would say, is like the biggest components that people need for a good preparation.
Your second point, I got a little story to this. At the beginning of my coaching career, I had a guy, he was preparing for GSG9. He failed his first try because of one cognitive test. I guess it was the skill to remember things under stress. And everything else was good, so he can test, so he can make another one. And he was unsure, of course, because of the first one which failed. And I told him, you have to go to this test with already passing in your mind. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your head that you already pass the test. This is so thick in your mind that there's no other chance not to pass.
There's a client that I have. He said a great quote. He mentioned a great quote, and I use that quote nowadays for all my clients, and that is, I've already decided that I'm going to make it. So now all I have to do is to do it. So, and obviously that sounds maybe like a little bit like, arrogant, but he meant it in a different way. He was like, I put so much time and work and effort into this. that I've already decided, you know, even if they tell me I have to do lunges, the entire pipeline with my rucksack over my head, and I have to do walking lunges, he's like, whatever, I'll do that. If they tell you have to eat 1 kilogram of sand every day, they go like, fine, I'll eat 2 kilograms of sand. I don't care. I've already decided I'm going to make it. So now all that I have to do is to do it. But you can only think that and say that if you really put in the reps, the hours, the work. You know, you can't just get off the couch playing Call of Duty and go like, I'm going to be in an elite. I'm like, bro, you can't run. You can't, you swim like a brick. You can't land navigate, and you can't do pull-ups. Also, don't kid yourself. But, you know, you can say that and honest yourself in the eye and go like, I am going to pass this because I will do anything to get there. And I've already done so much to get here.
Yeah. So you're
outside of the comfort zone. Always, you have to push yourself in this environment, because
yes,
you're not pushing yourself there, nothing will change. You will
exactly. What? Yeah, I tell my clients, if you want something that only 1% of the population has, a beret or specialty, or, you know, go into a unit, you know, only 1% of the population has this, you're going to have to do more than 99% of the population can't or won't. So you have to be, obviously, always uncomfortable, but you have to make it regular, that you are in a smart way, pushing yourself and your boundaries. Obviously, you know, we're all professionals here. You need to work on your recovery. You need to, you know, eat smart, you know, sleep enough. But, you know, if you want to get something done, you're going to need to do more, or maybe even less than you used to before.
Yeah, and it starts with the point you said on the last turn. Work on your weaknesses, because it's really common nowadays that athletes focus on their strengths, because it's also a comfort zone thing, and they don't want to face their egos, that they are strong in one point, and that's where most of the people fail, because they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. Because even if you are training, you can still be in your comfort zone if you're not pushing limits, or if you don't work with things you didn't work before, and that's a trap. And it's really important that you set this point, because I think for the listeners, it's really important to understand that training is not always outside of their comfort zone. If you are doing it for years and years and the same things, you will come to a point where you will stay the same.
Yes, exactly. Also, now you can't expect, you know, I want a gold medal in, I mean, gold medals is an analogy, but it could be something else. Well, I want a gold medal in swimming, okay, but I don't want to get wet. That's not going to work. You know, you have to be smart about that. You know, what you said, they don't want to confront their own ego. And I mean, everybody has it to some degree. But what's more important? Ego, your beret, or joining that unit? What's more important? Because you can't expect to take 1 or 2 driving lessons and then, you know, think, oh, I'm going to be a Formula One, you know, driver. That's not going to happen. They're going to find something, even if you can do 200 push-ups in one go. They're just going to make you do 250 push-ups and see how you react and how you deal with not being able. They're going to make it tough by default, because they want to see how you react when things aren't going your way. Because, you know, with the operational work, and, you know, I noticed it too on my deployment, you know, even if you rehearse everything, it you know, something happens. You're going to need to be able to adapt and improvise and then overcome. And that's what they want to see. They're going to, what I usually say is, the selection, you know, during selection, the cadre that runs selection, they don't care what you can do on your best day. They need to see what you can do on your worst day. So they're going to make it a bad day. And you could be an absolute stud for one day, but, you know, what about the next day when it's still raining and everybody's complaining and you're tired and you're hungry, you haven't slept? And what about the day after that? You're still going to, you know, step up and be a team player. You're going to have to, if you have an ego, you know, too much of an ego, because everybody has a little bit of that. But if it's an unhealthy ego, you're not going to be joining that unit.
Yeah, because they're going to break it in the first week. That's the goal.
Yeah, you might not. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, when we talk about selection, we always get one question every time, and it's how long does selection for this unit, for this unit, for this unit take? So, and we always say it depends, like everything, it depends. But from your experience and from your point of view, how does selection in general, so not speaking about one specific unit, just in general, to get a time frame for everybody, how long does selection from a regular guy who does regular sports last to get him prepared for special operations? Just a rough number.
Yeah. So usually I say between 1.5 years and 2.5 years. But once again, it depends on what the starting position is, right? Because some people have been swimming competitively for 10 years. They've been in the pool 3 times a week. That person almost like Aquaman, he's pretty good in the pool. That's awesome. When they want to go to Kampfschwimmer, that'd be a great idea. But, they might not run very good, or they might not be strong. So I would say 1.5 years, 2.5 years. And if people go like, that's way too long, I will go, hey, but you just told me you would do anything to get here. So you want to go there as fast as possible, or you want to go there well prepared? We can go next week, but you probably won't make it. So, and then you have to wait an entire year, and then you only get your second chance. Yeah. You only get 2 shots sometimes. So you screwed up 1 chance. So usually I say 1.5 years, 2 years, and then depending on how long I work with them, I'm looking together with people for a longer time, because if you work with people longer, you'll get better results. We can. If they're like, hey, I've never trained before and I want to join in 2 months, I'm like, that's going to be tough. But if they go like, hey, I've trained before and I'm now I'm like 20 years old, and I'm already kind of running. I can do some pull-ups and some push-ups. I can swim a little, and all of that. They're not like super fat. And I'm not fat shaming, but let's face it, some people are built like a peacock, and some people are built like a pigeon. So it's fine. You got to be in your goals, to be realistic. And usually I say 1.5 years or 2.5 years.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same what we say. But it's just my point of view and my experience that not many people want to invest 2 years of their life, or even 1 year, to prepare for something like that. So many people
they want to rush it.
They want to rush it. They want to tell us, hey, I only need 3 to 6 months to get ready. And when we say, hey, maybe your fitness can get ready in 6 months, but your brain, your head, your whole mindset, mental strength, it needs more time. You don't build up this mindset in 6 months. So you need to push 1 year.
Yes. I think, I also sometimes compare it to a whiskey. So I don't drink, but, I used to drink, but I don't drink anymore. But I used to say like, hey, if you want a good whiskey, it's going to take some time. You can't have a 20-year whiskey in 4 months. Can't happen. Now, you don't have to train for 20 years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying some things need to mature. And if when I coach people, or when I have my screening with people, I'll send them a lot of questions. They'll answer the questions, and I'll look at the questions, and then I'll have either a Zoom or WhatsApp or a FaceTime call with them, or they're coming here at the gym here in Breda, and I'll ask them again, like, hey, this looks great on paper, but who are you in real life? And I'll ask them, what are your goals, and how, and and what, and why, and when. And if I feel that we don't have a good connection, I will just not train you. I'll go like, no, I'm not going to waste, please, no, we're not going to be working together, because I don't feel like we're a good match. I'm not looking to coach as many people as possible. I'm coaching the right people. And I would say that's why I have thanks to my client, I have a good passing with my client. About 80% of my clients that look to join that unit, they make it. In units where there's usually only a 20% passing rate. So you need to. So if people might go like, oh, this, I'm like, yeah, but some things you can't rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another general question. I know it depends on the unit, but how does your selection in your country looks like? So in Germany, we had some selection courses where we have a long march with a few stations where you have to do something, climbing, fast roping or abseiling, and
Swim in the cold water.
swimming the cold water, navigate with the skills during this march. And how does it look like in your country? Maybe in military special operations, to get an example.
Okay, so if you're a civilian, you go through recruitment and then you go into either a 3-day screening, a first day screening where they do like the general fitness test.
Mm-hmm.
And then you, once again, it kind of depends, but you also need to go through regular screening at the military, you know, joints, knees, neck, hearing, eyesight, you know, are you colorblind, stuff like that. But you have like 3 days selection for civilians where they can go to the Marines or to the Air Mobile or the Dutch Korps Commandotroepen, so the Dutch Green Berets, I'd say. But sometimes that changes. You know, you used to be that the military people also need to do a 3-day selection for the Dutch Green Berets, but you know, it's sometimes they decide to change that. But usually there's like a 1-day selection, a regular screen at the like the large military recruitment, and then a 3-day selection. Then you are allowed to start the military course. Sometimes that takes longer, sometimes a little shorter, and then eventually you'll get into the actual unit and their course, like the command or the Marine Corps course. Usually with the courses, there's navigation there. It might even be during the screener, you know, while they'll do forced marches or ruck runs, swimming, obviously, scenarios where, you know, they'll give you like an airsoft gun or an air gun, and you might have to do some scenarios where you might have to treat a wounded person or solve a problem, you know, with time and stress and stuff like that. So there's individual stuff, there's team stuff, but it's like a wide variety of things that you can encounter. So some of the things I'm mentioning could be during the 3-day selection where they just see how you react under pressure, you know, not knowing anything, although you can find a lot of that stuff on the internet, obviously. And then if it's a longer pipeline, like 40 weeks, obviously it's more gradual and you get like weapon handling tests and stuff like that. So it's pretty wide. Well, let's just say physically, you need to be very well prepared, and then mentally, depending on the unit that you want to join, you also want to be, you know, be able to switch from a high stress situation to, okay, nothing's going on, to again, a high stress situation, to, you know, be able to think and switch and solve problems. I'd say that's like one of the most important things you should be able to do.
Okay. Next question is, in your career, I assume you saw many people also fail. Why do candidates fail selection? What is the most reason maybe why some of them fail from your point of view and your experience?
Okay, so not everybody makes it, which is, you know, that's obvious because, you know, not everybody can join a certain unit, which, and I should say, that says nothing about you as a person. I mean, I could go like, oh, I'll be an eye doctor. I want to be a heart surgeon. You know, I'm not the right person to become a heart surgeon.
Yeah.
So it doesn't say anything bad about the people. It means you tried and unfortunately it didn't happen. I mean, some things.
If you, sorry, but if you try, you did even more than most of the other guys who are afraid of even trying and failing.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Always better to try. So if you try, you already done more than most of the other guys.
If you don't try, it's going to be a no anyway. So if you try and you do your best, it might be a potential yes. I would rather try and fail than not try at all. So why candidates fail selection? Usually it's poor preparation or underestimating the standards. They might think, oh, I have to run this distance in 12 minutes. It's not just that. It's also doing that test right after that. So you might be able to nail one thing, but can you nail the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, right? So poor preparation and underestimating the standards. I would say having a slight injury or being overtrained, that's also something that people do wrong. They are they train too much and they are close to an injury and they're like, I can make it through these 3 days with this shoulder injury, but you usually can't. I would say also not being squared away mentally. Not being squared away meaning you don't have your ducks in a row. You don't have your, you didn't take care of everything. There might be something at home, your girlfriend might support you, or the girlfriend that you just like 2 months ago, she's like, oh, I want you to join the military. And meanwhile, you've been training for that for 2 years. Obviously, I'm not saying she's not the love of your life, but but if you've only been dating for 8 weeks, she must, your partner's like probably pretty great. I joke about this, and the girls can think about this. The ladies that follow this think about this too. What's easier, to get a new girlfriend or boyfriend, or earning your beret? Which one's easier? It's easier to get a new boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm not saying break up your boyfriend or girlfriend. Trust me, but you'll know if it's the right person. And if they care about you, you can have a conversation about this is really important because this and this and this. And they might support you. For instance, we have this gym here. It's been around for 13 years this year. This weekend we had our 13-year anniversary. While we were switching places from our gym, I decided I wanted to do Ironman Frankfurt. I did the World Championship half Ironman. I did that twice. I did that in 2006, 2007. But in 2018, I told my wife, I still have a full Ironman yet. And there's only one Ironman I want to do. It's Ironman Frankfurt. I really want that full distance triathlon. So I told my wife, hey, I know we have this gym, and I know you just got pregnant, but I really want to do this. So she's like, all right. So she should be in my goal. So not the same, but being squared away at home, being squared away mentally, expecting things to be difficult, that's also a reason. So the reason I told this story is your partner should be involved and committed to helping you. It works the other way too. So you got to support your potential lifetime love of your life if they want to go like that. And the last one, I would say, we touched on this before. The one big reason is obviously, also believing in yourself, even when it becomes uncomfortable, because it's going to be uncomfortable. Also, not working on the weakest link. If you know you're not good swimming, and you decide not to invest in swimming, then don't be surprised you didn't get a result because you put in the work.
Yeah, that are some very good points. It's pretty much the same here. So also this all family stress thing and girlfriends. We hear that a lot of time. So that dudes are very absent with their mind because of their girlfriend. That's a truly much thing. Also before the selection, maybe they have the will to do it, so they want to do it, but their girlfriends keep hammering, no. If you do this, I will leave you, I will end this relationship. And some guys, when I'm right, didn't even try the selection.
After years of preparation, it's crazy.
I don't want to, obviously, there's a saying, like, people have a lot to say about lives they haven't lived. So I don't know the people that do that, but I know some people, other people that are here that are like, I was dating and I was going to be an officer in the Marine Corps, and I was in that whole, went through all of the hoops and the screening, and then my girlfriend said, hey, I don't want that, and then he quit, and then 6 months later, they broke up. I think you should put a ultimatum on your partner. And, you know, for instance, my wife, she said, if you really want to do this, then we're doing this. You know, it's the same with what she wants. If she really wants something, I'm like, yes, you know, we'll do this. And I understand, like me and my wife, I understand that's different. If you're just dating someone, you could go. I'm not saying, so, you know, please don't take this literally, whoever listens to this, but you could go. It sounds like you're putting an ultimatum on me, which I don't really appreciate. I understand that you don't like that I'm going to do this. What we could do is, you could suggest this, I'm going to do this. And if there's 6 months, 9 months after I do this, you still feel the same, you know, we'll get back together, or maybe not, you know, but
Yeah.
then make your own decision and decide to do this. But we gotta, if you decide to break off being in the military because of your boyfriend or girlfriend, that's also a good reason. But then I hope you get married, have 5 kids, and have amazing life together. But you have to square that away with yourself. You know, you might be like, oh, this is my only shot. I understand this partner might only, you know, might only be like the love of your life. But, you know, that's being squared away mentally and emotionally as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You were in the US, I guess it was last month or the month before last. Okay. It's the TSEC. And you talked to, I guess, many people, also to the guy, I guess, who makes the training program for GBS Group. This
Vernon.
yes, that's he. I guess it was a very interesting connection and discussion with him. Also speaking in general, what is different in the US and what is maybe the same when they prepare guys for their units and their selection?
Okay, so I noticed a few things that are different in the States. So I went to the NCA annual tactical conference. I have like over here. I got something in the back, and but they have an annual tactical conference. I spoke. I gave a presentation during the annual tactical conference. I talked to a lot of professional strength and conditioning coaches. Vernon, who won Tactical Trainer of the Year. He a few years ago he was strength and conditioning trainer of the year. So he's a very, very good, very talented, very hardworking and knowledgeable coach. And what I noticed when I was talking to him and to other people is that the level of experience is higher because strength and conditioning is more well established in the States compared to Europe. So that's also the difference. But what I saw there is that it's more established. Everybody knows about strength and conditioning, or they know more about strength and conditioning. Here, people talk about CrossFit or fitness or something else. Obviously, I can't mention CrossFit because I'll get a lawsuit just because you're mentioning the name. But I did six courses in CrossFit, so I can kind of talk about it. But what I'm trying to say is CrossFit is positive because it gets people off the couch and in touch with the barbell, with kettlebell. I think that's positive. All right. So just before I got a lawsuit on my hands, there's some positives as well. What I'm trying to say is in the States, strength and conditioning is more understood. You know, college teams, universities, professional and even amateur teams might have a strength and conditioning coach. So people understand what it does and how it works. They have Thor 3 or H2F or wellness teams with the Rangers or with special forces groups, and strength and conditioning coaches, athletic coaches are more integrated with the unit. Then obviously you have like the private sector, which we are in, you know, not with the government. We have our own gym, our own facility, or our own online program. That's what they have as well. But they understand strength and conditioning better. Periodization, time and attention, time and load, stretch shortening cycle. It's more professional. So I'd say that's why it was good to go to the States. What is the same along with what they're doing in the States, is that it all kind of comes down to the basics.
Yeah.
It's all about sleep, nutrition, hydration, and recovery, and there's no shortcut. And I talk about that during my presentation, because I understand when I'm, I'm old, I'm 45, but the young guys, I understand you want results and you want results now. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what supplement I should take. Just tell me what, where's the shortcut? Where's the hack? Unfortunately, there is none. You got to do the boring stuff again and again and again and again. And we can talk about habits, those really set you up for success. And even in the States, people are the same. Doesn't matter if you speak German, Dutch, or English, people are the same. You want results quick, but, doing the basics, the fundamentals well will set you up for success. It's the same in the States. It's the same in Germany, I can imagine. It's the same in Belgium and England and in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Why do you think are they better?
They got more experience. I got a book. You mean the States? They're better. Well, here I got a book like The Golden Age of Strength and Conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about, 30 strength and conditioning coaches helped lay the foundation of what strength and conditioning is today. This is a book about 1980. So this is so long ago. They were already doing that. So that's 40 years of experience. I got a book here from Dan John, 40 years with the whistle. So this is about strength and conditioning back in the day, when it just started. So they got more reps under their belt. They got they're more well established, and here in Europe, it's just coming up. So that's why I would say, they're well ahead with good and bad things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My last point for today is about habits. We already talked about it a few minutes ago and in our discussion before the podcast. And can you tell us a little bit more about changing habits as a key to be successful? So just little things you do every day, just boring things you do little every day. And if you do them on a long period of time, these little things have a big impact.
Of course. So there's a book that I really like, that I really recommend to everybody. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another book. It's called You're Too Good to Feel This Bad. That's by Nate Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And those two books talk about, small improvements every day that can set you up for success. So in the book Atomic Habits, James Clear says, every choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. So if you wanna improve some things, you gotta make. If you want new positive lifestyle changes, first you gotta make that new lifestyle change like easy and rewarding. If I get up, for instance, for me, if I get up, I will first meditate. After I meditate, for me personally, I will play a game of chess, 5 minutes, blitz game of chess. After that, feed my dog. I have a Belgian Malinois, a Belgian Shepherd, so she's like super busy. Like super energetic, but she wants her food. I'll give her food. I unload the dishwasher. Then I have my greens, my vitamin C, and my creatine, and I walk the dog. I stack the habits that I want to do, and I make sure I do that before my wife or my daughter wake up. So I get up pretty early at 5:30. So that's what for me. I'm not saying everybody should do that. I'm saying I built it up gradually. This is the point that I'm getting at. If you want to change something, you need to do it gradually. Nobody likes a change out of nowhere, because you can't manage that.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Before you can do spectacular things, even if you want to join the military, you have to do a lot of boring things, day after day after day after day. You have to remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour, meaning that you need to gradually incorporate the stuff you want to do. I would say go to bed at 10 if you're getting up at 6. That's 8 hours of sleep. Got to need those 8 hours so the next day you have energy to tackle the day. You get set up your stuff, if you're going to go train, have your bag, sports bag, you have your running shoes, or if you're going to go to the gym, you have your gym clothes, your water bottle, you have it all set up. You got your nutrition, you got your protein shakes, you got your oatmeal, whatever. Habits that you want to do, but you have to gradually implement that. You can't, change your whole life on a whim. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
I, for instance, have a checklist, and you can get it on my website for free. It's in English. It's called the Habit Checklist. This is not a plug or whatever, but I make it easy for my clients and go like, hey, if you want to work with me, I want you to do this. And they go like, oh, I thought it was just going to be running, lifting weights. I'm like, no, it's going to be a lot of this. You have 24 hours in a day. You're going to be in the gym maybe 4 hours a day. And with the 23 hours that you're not going to be in the gym, you're going to be working on enough hydration, nutrition, mindset, breath work, yoga, running, swimming, whatever. Got to have it all dialed in. And that's actually what takes a lot of time. And it's never going to be perfect. You're going to need to work on that. You're going to have to, navigate all of that in your day. So I get trained 4 or 5 times a week. I get to meditate and play chess and all that stuff, run a gym along with my awesome wife. We're going to have a second kid in about 6 weeks. So, all that stuff's going on, and we already have a kid. All that stuff's going on, but I still need to manage somewhere that I can train and drink enough water and, eat my protein and meditate and play chess and read books. You need to be smart. You need to think about where am I? Where am I going? How can I get there? I need to train somewhere during the day. I need to be on my hydration, nutrition. I need to meditate, sleep enough. It's a lot of work, I know. Training for special operations, training for an elite unit, training for a special police unit. It requires you to maybe not drink too much during the weekend. It might tell your friends like, hey, we can't go to the club on Saturday, on Friday, because I got to train the next morning. And if they don't understand or they're not supporting you, well, maybe you need to explain it to them. And if they don't want to hear it, you don't need to explain it. You're on this mission to go that way. As long as you understand why you're doing it, you need to incorporate it slowly. So I know it's a long-winded answer, but read Atomic Habits, figure out why you want to do this. Get in touch with great coaches and ask them to help you. And if you better 1% every day, and in 12 months, it could be light years ahead where you are right now. The Noël today is going to be hopefully impressed with Noël in 12 months, with his chess and with his reading and with, having another baby, but it takes time. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thing. What is the best advice you would give yourself when you were maybe 1 or 2 years before joining the military?
I would say, for me personally, I have a lot of energy. I would say in Dutch, rust kan je redden. So staying calm, staying calm and focused, that can save the day. It's real easy to get swept away with emotions and impressions and yelling and screaming. But what they want is they want action, but they don't want blind action. So I've eventually been a medic at the Airborne Marines and deployed to Afghanistan as a medic. And I had to work and treat people who had war trauma, with very serious injuries, priority one casualties. But what they want is someone who can solve a problem. And if you create your own unrest, that's not good. But you can also create your own. So when I figured that out, even in the Marine Corps training and the Marine Corps program, if I could stay calm and think and act, that was smart. So I would say that would be my greatest advice to myself and to perhaps other people as well. You need to be strong in your action, but also you need to think about what you're going to do before you start the action. And it can only be like a 1 second that you go like, all right, let's go, instead of just blindly running somewhere.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. So my questions are finished. Do you have anything that you want to mention at the end of this, I guess, very, very great, very, very helpful podcast?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for being on the podcast. I enjoy. I'm very honored that PPF wanted me on their podcast. I think that's very cool. Thank you very much, guys. I had
Thank you very
a
much.
great time. You're welcome. Gang. But what I wanted to say was, people can get in touch with me. They can find me on Instagram. My personal account is at brand.sc. You can go on Defensie Trainingsschema.nl, but that's perhaps more difficult. Maybe you can put it into show notes.
Yeah, sure.
My Instagram account. I would say that my parting words would be this. There's no guarantee that you'll make it into a certain unit, but if you don't have faith in yourself and you're not working hard, I can guarantee you're not going to make it. So there are no guarantees. Even if you do everything right, there are no guarantees. But if you really put in a lot of effort, a lot of time, you will get better. You might make it to that unit, or you might not make it to the unit, but you never regret putting in hard work. You never regret putting in effort. You never regret asking the best out of yourself, from yourself, for yourself. So I would say I respect people that work hard, tried it, and didn't make it. I don't have any sympathy for people that didn't want to put in the effort, didn't want to work hard, didn't want to do the work. You know, we're just looking for shortcuts or just talking about it instead of, you know, putting their money where their mouth was. But, you know, usually that doesn't end well, and I want people to be able to look themselves in the eye and go, I gave it a chance, I gave it a chance, I did my best. Unfortunately, I didn't make it, because, you know, that regret, that can stay for a long time, and I don't wish that on anybody.
I guess as a saying, the pain of regret is bigger than the pain of preparation, or something like this, but that's true.
Jordan Peterson, great quote that goes, you're going to pay a price for everything you do and everything you don't do. You don't get to not pay a price. You get to pick your poison. You get to pick the poison that you're going to take. That's it. So either, you know, time is going to pass anyway. Might as well expect, you know, might as well prepare. That's what I would say.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks, guys.
That's it. Thank you very much for your words. I hope that everybody understands everything and hears the podcast, even if it's in English. But yeah, if not, this would be a pity. And yeah,
then you have to work on your English skills, because it's going to be important in the future if you're working internationally in special forces.
Yeah, that's also.